And you were also mentioning about the, not having a background in agriculture. And I'm in a similar position. When I was growing up, I was we had a small ranch there in Brazil, very small, like one pig, one horse, a bunch of chicken and that kind of stuff. And yeah, and then went to vet school and internship and those things. So that was how I got addicted to pig production, right? What is you mentioned you had a story about the dairy challenge team that you participated.
Yeah. Um, and I think that goes in the line of, in general, it's really easy for young scientists to have imposter syndrome, which
Mm-hmm.
is, I'm not qualified to be here. I don't know enough
Mm-hmm.
to be valuable. And that was definitely magnified with me in my undergrad education, where I didn't have an agriculture background. I did grow up in a rural community, but I grew up with companion animals, grew up riding horses. So I didn't have that animal ag background.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of jumped in head first into dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt always like I was on a steep learning curve, and I just didn't have the background that I felt to be up to snuff on contributing to things like Dairy Challenge. But Dr. Miriam Weber Nielsen, who is an associate professor there, and she teaches all of the dairy management courses. During my senior year, she asked, would I be interested in being one of the 4 team members for the Dairy Challenge team? And I was like, thank you, but I don't know what I would offer to the team. Everything that I know about dairy, I've learned here, not on a farm. And she's like, no, that's great. She's like, having that outward perspective of, you right now as a student know what are best practices. You don't come in with any kind of preconceived notions or habits or, well, my farm does this, so I think that's the most correct. She said, because I don't have that, I approach problems differently that can be beneficial in the dairy challenge scenario, which is we're going to go onto a farm, we're going to do a full assessment, and we're going to identify, here are areas that we think you could improve, and here are some suggestions on how to improve them. And she was saying that my perspective, not having any reference to personal experience, is beneficial because I can look at the problem differently than somebody who's been producing cattle their whole life. And I thought, and I've really carried that message with me. And I'm very quick to share that with new students, even within the research realm. Like, well, I really have never worked with pigs, or don't really never worked with chickens, because we also did poultry research in Ryan Doger's lab. And it's like, that's fine. That means you're more receptive to learning. And also makes it less likely that you're going to do something or promote a certain management decision just because that's what you've always done. And I think it makes you look more critically at, well, what can I do to make this practice the best, versus how can I make this thing that I've always done fit.